Welcome to Conversations with. On this show, my guests and I explore the bumps and triumphs of their journey to extract the gems from their experiences, because success leaves clues, and today we turn those clues into billboards for you. I'm your host, Gene Bernier, founder of Peeled Back, speaker and co-active coach, guiding leaders to pursue a life worth living. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 115 of the Conversations with. Today, we have the privilege of speaking with Jonikas, one of the world's top 30 startup gurus for 2023, with a PhD in economics, a master's in marketing and management, and over 19 years of experience. He's the author of the best-selling book, Startup Evolution Curve. His groundbreaking research has helped countless startups on their journey to success. He's also the creator of the highly acclaimed training program Startup Fast Track, which has empowered over 16,000 entrepreneurs. And as a dedicated mentor, he shares valuable insights through his ongoing YouTube series, Daily Tips for the SaaS Founders, which currently boasts over 200 tips. So let's join in as we explore the innovative double sprint method for startups and how it's aiming to save development costs and accelerate market entry. Jonikas, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you for inviting. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, obviously my words cannot do what you've gone through even a little bit of justice. So tell us a little bit about the journey of what got you excited about doing the double sprint method and being the mentor that you are for SaaS founders.
Okay, I was just thinking from how far should I start telling the story. But if you asked right about the double sprint method, well, the double sprint method is created especially for software, platform, and application founders. So if you are building digital product, so how the hell you should validate the idea and how you should get customers before even starting coding,
Yeah.
It's not just about the product market fit, but how to get customers and how to achieve that so-called customer-led funding, so that instead of you throw your own cash, well, guilty for myself, I did that in the past, and I met a bunch of startups who also did the same. They put everything what they got, just this is amazing idea, I will do that stuff, I will create, and when the product is ready, I will show it to the market, and I will get my cash back, and I'll be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. No, that's not the case.
It sounds like it should be just like that easy, right?
Yeah, that should be easy, but I believe the failure.com or some other credible source revealed that 92% of SaaS startups, it means software startups like digital tool startups,
Yeah.
are shut down in 3 years regardless of funding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It doesn't count that if you have deep pockets. If you are building shitty products, you will finally understand that it's not worth it, and you will simply close it. So everyone who starts software startup or platform startup thinks that this is an amazing tool. It will change the world. It will bring fortune for founders, but actually only 8% of them survive 3 years.
It's an interesting road mark to say after that 3-year mark, there's such a drop off.
Yep.
What do you think it is? What's important about that 3-year mark that's so different from the other 8% that make it?
Yeah, that's really good question. And the research analyzed what were the main reasons why these startups actually failed, why they were shut down. What was the main reason? Initially, my guess, and many people also guess, that it probably should be related with technical reasons, technical issues. You were not managed to find a solution, technical advancement, and etc. But that was not the case. Actually, the shocking fact is that only 6% of software startups failed due to technical reasons. Only 6% out of those 92%. So, guys, you can find another one developer if you are not really good at that, if you don't know how to discover that technology, adopt AI or blockchain, find the mentor, find the coach, and this is doable, this is solvable. But the kind of counterintuitive fact for most founders was that 56% are shut down because they don't have enough customers. They build the product, but they can't market it, they can't sell it, and it doesn't make sense to invest in the product,
Yeah.
even try to push hard, trying to sell it.
Right.
And for me as a marketer, yeah, definitely marketing is the most important thing. But if you would talk with developer, no, no, coding is the most important thing in the world. And everyone, everyone will put the blank into his own side. So
Right. And then you kind of
that's
sometimes will get into those silos as things get, I imagine, well, in my experience, what I've seen is as those companies start to collapse, the silos get further and further apart and the communication kind of drops more.
yeah.
And they're like, this is the way. And that can be a really detrimental
Mm,
space for it.
Um, and if you allow, I can even share one actual story when the
Yes,
customer
please.
came to me and said, "Donatas, help me launch the product." And you asked me about the double sprint method, why and how I created, how I came to that stuff. So this story happened before I created the double sprint method. I was already like a startup mentor, startup advisor. My book was already published, and I was also already known as like startup consultant. So
Right.
this guy came to me and said, "Well, I've built the platform and I've invested this much and I want to attract customers. We already tried this, that, and it didn't work." Gosh, I asked, where were you before you tried to build that product? So this is like the first question. But the sad truth was that in total, this founder invested 236,000 euros. So it was in Europe, in
Yeah.
Lithuania, 236,000 euros thrown in into building the product. It was 160,000 or something like that in development,
Right.
80,000 in paying salaries for employees, and 16,000 in marketing. And he tried to relaunch the product 3 times. So actually, he did 3 relaunch campaigns, trying different messages, different channels,
Yeah.
and flapped miserably. His initial goal was this was like a marketplace, because it means that it's not enough for you to have one user and the user will be happy. No, you need a bunch of users,
Yeah.
to make some interaction. So his calculation was that he needs for about 5,000 users to make some inside economy happen around, and
Right.
everyone's being happy about that.
It's like a critical mass.
Yeah, after throwing away 236,000 and relaunching 3 times, he managed to get 164 users, free users. None of them was paying user. That was, you know, I even can't find words how disappointing the situation was for him, and how difficult it was for me. And he said, "Well, Donatas, if you're a marketer, you will save us, you will find the way to do that stuff." Then we digged into deeper reasons why it is happening. So, and this person was not a newbie. He was in the industry for more than 15 years. He knew the stuff. He knew all ins and outs
Right.
of the industry that he was trying to build the tool. And the problem was that he was building too sophisticated tool for the market at that time.
Right.
It was too fancy, too much like you are creating the Boeing aircraft and you don't provide the manual how to handle the Boeing aircraft. And I was, oh no, I'll just better purchase a ticket to
Right.
to fly somewhere instead of owning my own Boeing. That was the case. And after that client, I got other clients coming up in similar situation. They already built the product, they tried to get into the market, they flopped with the face in the mud, and we need to do something. And then I thought, well, how we could prevent that stuff happening. So how is it at all possible to get money before you spend money in building your software?
Right.
This is crazy. It sounds like cheating, etc., etc. This is like awkward stuff. But no, it's true. It's possible. It's doable. And I firmly believe this is the way we should do. There is nothing unfair, nothing illegal. You just show that, guys, we are trying to solve this problem, and this is what kind of solution we are building. Do you want to join our early adopters program?
Right.
If you want, you will get these benefits. If you don't want, that's totally okay. You can wait until we build the product, we launch it into the market, but you won't have the discount, you won't have the bonuses, you won't have the possibility to impact how we will develop the product,
Right.
and you will get your hands only after your competitors will already have tested the product and already used against you.
Right.
So, do you want to jump to the into the program, or do you want to wait? So that's up to you.
Yeah. Well, and it's asking some real simple questions. Is going off and doing the customer research before you go through and do that big burn and the big spend. As like there's back when I was running agencies is like we used to talk about the field of dreams syndrome. It's like, well, if you build it, they will come.
Mhm.
And what I'm hearing here is like you've seen that, you've done the research,
Yeah,
reinforce that, be like, it doesn't matter how great you make that fill in the blank. They're not going to come if
yeah,
you've not brought them
yeah,
on the journey or if it's something that you've fallen in love with and going, they're going to love it as much as I have because I've invested everything into it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
there's a disconnect there between what does the customer actually need, what are the problems, and how can you start solving it the fastest way possible. That's what I'm kind of taking from that so far.
Yeah, that's exactly. And maybe it will be a shocking fact that when I did the research for my book Startup Evolution Curve, I surveyed 1,447 startups,
Yeah.
and none of them has implemented their initial idea. It means they have to pivot at least once. So no one was right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So what are chances that you will be right at the very beginning without talking to customers and doing some additional research?
Well, let's point to that for a little bit of like the power of that initial idea is like it gets people moving, but like I from obviously doing the research and seeing that nobody sticks to their first one or at least the first iteration of it is
Mhm.
like what has your research has shown about the power of that first idea to get started. And I hear there's kind of like a path. There's like either I go talk to people and find out if my idea is right and
Mhm.
modify, or I stay committed to like this is the best idea that's ever been had.
Yeah, and you will build a product for yourself and only yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. I can actually tell another one story from a customer who already joined our double sprint method bootcamp, and we did like the testing, going outside. That person was already at the stage when he was preparing to launch his. We could call it like a tool or social network. It was a social challenge tool. So, for
Okay.
instance, if you want to run a challenge, I will read book every week, or I will start running, or I will do whatever,
Right.
so that you could invite your friends, etc., etc. And his idea was, well, I can build all these features, functions, etc., build it like an amazing tool, and I'm about 5 minutes to the launch, and I just need another your help to get customers. Okay, come on, just stop for a little. let's review if you are building the right stuff first
Yeah.
in the first place. And actually, during the bootcamp, he figured out that customers are not ready to pay even €5, even $5 for using that function,
Yeah.
because I can announce that on my Facebook. I can announce on another social network that, hey, I'm on this challenge, and it will keep me accountable. It's not as fancy. It doesn't have all these features that entrepreneur was willing to build.
Yeah.
But like B2C, business to customers, our simple users, they're not ready to pay for that kind of fun stuff. It's nice
Right.
to have, but not an essential tool. But as you're asking, okay, so what to do next? Should I kill the project? Because he invested, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars in coding and building that stuff. He
Yeah.
firmly believed in that. He was depressed for a week, maybe a two weeks, that, gosh, this is what I have done, and all that kind of stuff. But we found a way to pivot his idea. It was not just, hey, we have amazing idea, let's pivot, let's adopt it. No, this is like
Right.
a methodological approach, what you need to do. So for instance, you need to talk to at least 5 different ICPs, ideal customer profiles. So we believe that initial customer like me who likes running would be using the software for challenges. No, the idea is rejected. Okay, what are other 4 ICPs, ideal customer profiles?
Yeah.
And what we found out during the bootcamp, that online course creators, coaches, and consultants use challenges as marketing funnel, as
Yeah.
marketing stuff. Like 5 day challenge to get your first customers, 5 day challenge to publish your book, or whatever it is, like 5-7 days,
Yeah.
and they need totally different features, like to see the accountability of those who participate, the activity, to nudge them, to communicate them, to DM them, and etc. But the core functionality, like that, I'm on a challenge, I'm publishing, I'm doing, is
Right.
kind of like done. So
Yeah.
so what this entrepreneur has built, it was about 80 to 90% adaptable to the new segment, to the new market, but still he needed to create additional features. So instead of building the final steps of that initial idea and launching and flopping into the mud, he said,
Right.
well, let's stop it for a while. I'll onboard early adopters. I will agree with them to pay me some cash up front so that I will sell them the lifetime license of this tool. It means they won't be paying me subscription fee. They just give me a few hundred or few thousand, depending on the capacity of the tool
Right.
that provide them. I will have some cash to finalize the development of the tool. That's the answer. So
Yeah.
even if you are in the later stage, we still look for possibilities how to pivot.
And the pivot is maybe let's talk about the psychology or like the mindset around the realization that a pivot's needed, coming off of that first idea, and going into kind of green pastures. Just based on your story here, is like you help that client determine what multiple ICPs could be, eliminating the ones that weren't going to work for what he had, and then finding the path where his idea was like an 80% there for a different demographic that allowed him to then obviously be a little bit more successful out of the gate. What have you learned about working with people through that pivot point?
Well, initially, it's really hard to acknowledge that I was wrong.
Mm,
Most founders, they firmly believe like it's in their blood to be persistent and to build the idea, to implement that's the entrepreneurship. You have the vision and you go whatever it takes to implement it. But sometimes you need to make a wise decision, stop for a while, look around, and gosh, I'm going into the mud while there is a road, a highway somewhere. Somewhere I just need to go 90 degrees other direction. So this is the hardest point.
right.
And another hard aspect is that sunken cost. I
Mm,
already invested this much, so gosh, I still need to invest a little bit, and I will see how it goes. Then I will make a decision. Okay, I invested 30K, I invest 10K more, and I will see. Maybe you should invest that 10K to get customers first.
right.
And if these customers pay you 5K, 10K, you get your cash back and you will be building what they actually need instead of what you believe. So this is like the limiting factor.
That I think you just said a great clip. Like you're gonna build what they need, not what you believe.
Yep. Yeah. 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 And this is like what I teach and what I do myself when I build my own ideas. I ask customers for commitment of one of three types. Well, the best type is money, obviously. If you pay me cash, I know that it's worth for you something, and
Yeah.
I'm ready to commit. I'm ready to find other customers. And maybe I will put some money from my pocket to do that stuff. That's cool. But other commitment is time. So if customers are ready to commit their own time, like to join your workshops, to join one-on-one interviews, to review your prototypes, to participate in your strategic sessions. But I'm not talking about those tire kickers who don't want to do their day job and, okay, let's join the workshop and have some fun. No,
Yeah.
I'm willing to build this product to solve that specific problem. Is it actual for you? So could you give me input from your side, how important this problem is, what you have tried, and here is the prototype, let's review, what would you be doing, and etc.,
Yeah.
with the clear understanding that once we build the solution, you will be willing to buy it. Because like we are developing the solution for you, Gene. If
Right.
if it's good, yeah, you can buy it. If it's shit, you don't buy it. This is like commitment in time. And the third time of commitment, it's like least worthy, but still worth something. It's reputation.
Mm,
If potential customer can lend you some reputation of his own,
right.
it's also like an indication that you're not talking nonsense to that person. Because if you would be saying, yeah, this is the stuff, and the customer says, yeah, nice, Gene, it's amazing, go
Yeah.
forward, do it. But I don't want to have anything in common with you. That's that's not the case. So how can we use this factor? It's just simply an introduction to new potential customers.
Yeah.
So Gene, who do you think might be interested in what we are building?
Mm,
Maybe you could introduce me to someone who has the same problem, who's not your competitor, and to whom we might be helpful.
yeah.
And you say, I'm not sure. So if you would think, so what would come first to your mind? Give me some ideas. Okay, cool. You gave me some names, maybe some ideas of who might that be. I would
Right.
ask you, could you introduce me via LinkedIn message, group chat, or Facebook chat? Just connect us, drop one message. If you do that, I know that you are not a stranger to my idea. It
Right.
means that you are not afraid to be like associated with that idea, with that product, and with me.
Right. And that's even such a lower barrier than being like, can I put your logo on my site?
Yeah,
And so money's the king. That
yeah.
is like the value that says, I love this idea and I want to see it grow. You got time coming in second, where they're going
Mhm.
to be involved in interviewing, maybe being providing feedback on what where you are. That goes the idea is in the right ballpark. And the last is that reputation going,
Yeah.
hey, if you like this idea, do you know somebody that could potentially love this idea, leveraging just the reputation to say, hey, they like you, which is the key component in that piece, and they think your idea has something. That's what I when I hear that. That's
Yeah.
the how am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And when we are talking about asking time from potential customers, I can share what I did with my startup. Like our startup is on the third or fourth pivot, so I'm not putting all my bets on it. I'm just doing step by step testing, getting into the phase, okay, getting back and trying to redo rework, but I'm not putting everything on that stuff
Right.
right now because we are going step by step, testing it and adjusting it. So during the first or second iteration, what we did, I asked people to go through our MVP. It means just test it and fill it. The onboarding sequence took for them on average about half an hour, and 10 people did that.
Yeah.
They tried to fill that, they tried to go because the idea marketing partnerships for them was very interesting because the wizard creates partnership ideas for them. Instead it's like talking with me, but it's done on autopilot and
Right.
blah 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 stuff. And then I got feedback from them. It was frustrating to spend half an hour with the computer filling, writing everything, blah 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 stuff. Cool, we got the feedback. The next time what I asked those people was to do the live workshop with me live in person. It means they arrived to our office and I locked the room for 3 hours with 8 people who
Yeah.
didn't know each other. Few of them knew them, but
Yeah.
I said, okay, you were users of the prototype and you said it's creepy, it's bad, but the idea is good. So help me to make the idea work it out.
Right.
And for 3 hours, we were working, discussing, and looking for possible solutions. So this is the commitment, and it means they didn't pay me money, but they spent time with me. And for me, it was the validation that, okay, the solution is not perfect, but the direction, the problem that we are solving is important to people.
Right. And if you can get those 8 people in a room for 3 hours, I imagine that's like gold.
Yeah.
Like the amount of information that you were able to find from that and take and do that pivot that you needed to do, and what you came up with that. So you
To be,
mentioned
yeah,
in your startup, you've gone through multiple pivots now. What was like that first? What was the first pivot that made you go, maybe the
yeah.
way that I was originally thinking isn't going to keep working?
Yeah, the I would call it like the first failure. It's just let's be frank, come on. If it's pivot, it means like a failure or a lesson you learned or you
Yeah.
didn't learn. That's the case. So I knew that I shouldn't hire developers before I'm sure that I'm building stuff that's needed into the market for the market. So what I did, I used Pidoko wireframing tool. I put the wireframe on by myself,
Yeah.
very straightforward, black box. I said, if you click there, you will get this, like message, all kind of stuff. And I tried to put everything, all my thoughts in it, how it's gonna be working, and etc. etc. So I did 18 or 19 interviews with marketers, sitting them side by side in person and showing the mock-up, like doing the mock-up demo, but not in the right way. This
Right.
is one thing. I figured out how to do wireframe demos later, not at that time. So this is one lesson from my side. And most of these people, 17 or 16, told me, when it's even half ready, Donatas, let me know. I want to try it.
Mm.
I showed them the mock-up. It was, oh, cool. It's amazing. Yeah, we love it. It seems invaluable for us. It could move the needle in our business. It was like marketing partnership platform, like a billboard, all kind of fancy stuff. Cool. But when I created the mockup, not me personally, but when I hired developers, like at the low rates, so low fidelity,
Yeah.
MVP total, not investing too much money into that stuff, I said, guys, we can, pop the champagne and go and test it. And they said, it sucks. I don't know what to do with that stuff. Oh, crazy. But you loved when I showed you.
Yeah.
And the key lesson was that, Donatas, when you showed us, it was clear. But now
Mm,
when we have to do that on our own, it's frustrating. We are not sure why should we provide this information, which option should we choose. We don't know what awaits us in the next step. And it's, oh, gosh, the whole user onboarding sequence was too strong, like to require too much effort from
right.
their side, and the value proposition was weaker than the effort they needed.
Mm,
So my first lesson was we need to onboard users as quickly as possible. So while initially we thought that we will create partnership wizard, which will be like a consulting guru, you answer some questions and it pops some ideas
right.
what kind of partnerships you could do. Initial users said, yeah, this is amazing. But when they had to write down, to type about information about their product, about their expectations, pricing, commissions, etc., oh, no, I don't want to give this information right now. I'm not sure. I'm in a hurry. It didn't work out.
Mm,
So instead of like half an hour journey, now we made less than 2 minutes. You can create account in 2 minutes, and in 2 minutes you will get partnership match.
right. Well, that's I think that's a fascinating lesson to learn to go from, hey, wireframed up, we love your idea, mock up, ready to like try it out. What we don't like this, but being curious about what was in that gap, and you mentioned the effort they had to apply to was not equal or was not the right ratio to the
Mhm.
problem you were trying to solve for them. Going like, oh, here's the problem, and here's the effort. Be like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. But if you've switched that around, going, wow, this is the effort, and here's the big problem that I'm going to continue to solve by putting that smaller effort in, or and the right amount of effort in for them, they were willing to do that. I think that's a very insightful thing that anybody, regardless of what kind of business you're going into, is to have that curiosity around the effort that your client has to put in to the
Yeah.
problem you're trying to solve for them.
And one more thing that I personally learned from this situation is that the gap was in the fact that I was good at pitching my idea. So when
Oh,
we were sitting, side by side, watching at the screen, I was pitching the idea of Finovin. I was excited. I was, saying what it's gonna bring you at da 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 da. And that person, yeah, this is amazing. Whatever you're doing on the screen, it sounds amazing. But when they had to do that without me at by side,
yeah,
I'm not sure is it worth it, and etc. And this is the lesson for me and for other founders. If you are passionate, you can give that passion to potential customers. But when
right.
you will have to do that without your personality, like
Mm,
onboarding users on automatic sequence, that ain't gonna work the same way.
right. It's a valuable lesson to learn. How do you address that now going forward? Like, what kind of advice would you give? I'm going to assume that's probably like part of what they're going to learn from your double sprint process. But like,
Mhm.
what's that advice that you can give to somebody that's facing that, going, "Wow, I'm charismatic. I've got the interest. I've got the sale, and now they're dead on arrival."
Mhm.
How do you help people through that?
Okay, if it's just an early stage, you don't have the product yet, but you have done the wireframe, like put your idea with clickable mockup, something gonna happen over there. So agree with the customer discovery interview. It would be not probably the first interview with that person, but the second or the third,
Right.
because in the first interview, I wouldn't like to show my solution in advance.
Mm,
I would like to dig deeper into their situation about the problem that I'm trying to solve, because sometimes it can be that we are trying to solve the problem which is not significant to the customer, and whatever it takes later on, come on, it's just 5 points out of 10 importance of the problem for me.
yeah.
If I have other activities, no matter how great solution is, I simply won't pay my attention to that problem,
Right.
and nothing else matters. So this is what I teach. First of all, do discovery interview without showing your solution, without pitching your idea. Do you have this problem, Gene? Yeah. How important it is? How much does it cost you? How do you try to solve it? If the person says, yeah, this is amazing, this is important, blah, blah, blah stuff, but this person doesn't try to solve the problem, guess what? It's not an important problem for the person if
Yeah.
he's not looking for a solution. I need to find other potential customers who are looking for possible solutions.
Right.
Once I found them, the second meeting would be, I would agree, Gene, would you be willing to check what we are working on? Based on the feedback that I heard from you, give me 1 week, a couple of weeks. I will come up with the solution. I will show you what we are onto. I would
Yeah.
appreciate your feedback. Now we will get commitments of time or not. This is the first like validation point. If
Yeah.
we get the commitment, then what would I do differently compared from my first like endeavor with doing these discovery interviews and wireframe demos? I would simply show the demo. So this is what we came with based on the feedback from you. This is the screen. What would you do?
Right.
And I'm silent. Let the person go around, click around, do the stuff. If the person asks, I don't give a shit what it is. Okay, we missed the point. It means
Yeah.
it's not clear. So we will lose customer right in this point.
Right.
If he clicks somewhere, if he asks some question, okay, I just make some notes that I got these questions at these points. In the best case, it would be awesome if we could record this meeting or
Right.
record the screen of the customer. Later on, we could learn much more from that stuff. But initially, we don't pitch. We just watch how the customer is doing, what questions we get from that customer. If we get stuck with the customer, I would explain, okay, you tried all possible ways on your own, so let me help you. just to go to the next stage if I want to test the next stage. Because I know
Right.
we already have the problem in the first stage, I will need to fix it.
Yeah.
But if I don't show the second stage, I don't know if we have any problems there.
Right.
So let me transfer you to the second stage. Click here, do this, and you will be in the second stage. Okay, now what would you do? I'm silent again.
And then you're just listening. I
Yep.
I think that out is an important piece. Is like, I think it could be so easy to jump in and be like, oh, let me just help you, let me make this smoother for you. But by stepping back and being quiet, watching, listening, and observing, you're going to learn so much more about what is happening in that situation than if you tried to walk them through it.
Yeah, yeah. This is a slightly different situation. If we already found kind of like a product market fit, when we already know that we are building what customers are looking for, what customers are ready to pay for. Like
Yeah.
we already did this initial mock-up demos, but I still don't have the software ready. I still don't have the platform. I still don't have the application, and I need to sell it. I want to sell it. I want to show something to potential customers with whom we haven't done any interviews. They don't know me. I'm a stranger to them.
Right.
So I need to pitch them the idea to get their money, to get their buyers, to get their commitment.
Right.
So how should I do that? It's totally different approach from the one that we already discussed. Because initially we want to get their feedback to understand if we are building the right product. In most cases, we are not building the right product initially.
Yeah.
we just need to understand how to change that product.
Yeah.
But let's say we already more or less on the way to build really great product. Now we want to pre-sell it somehow. So what we would do, we would agree like on a sales page, but it wouldn't be like straightforward, like I'm willing to sell you. We are building this stuff. It's not available yet, but we are looking for a few potential customers into our early adopters program under exclusive conditions. But that's not about this stuff. Do you have this problem? Is it important for you? If it's not important, I'm not pitching you. It's not worth my time. It's not worth your time. But if you say, yeah, like we want to increase sales. Yeah, we want to reduce our marketing expenditures. Yes, we want to get more from our ads on Facebook. Okay, cool. How can you help us? Maybe I would put another one hook. Well, you can double the ROI of your marketing budget if you use marketing partnerships, and we are building the solution. How you could find partners on autopilot. Is it interesting for you? If it's interesting for you, cool. We're going to have a meeting, 15 minutes, 45 minutes. It depends on the software platform, how many features we have on that. But on average, we would go through 3 to 5, maximum 3 to 5 problems and features. What does it mean? I said, Gene, the problem you face initially is like this one. And you nod your head. Yeah, this is the problem. Okay, cool. So look, we already have this feature. We are building this feature. And this is how the solution looks, the benefit for you. So like this feature eliminates your problem. This is amazing.
Right.
Cool. But that's not it. You have another one problem in the next step. And we have the feature. We've got you covered. And this benefit for you. And we have the third problem in this case. And we have the feature that solves that stuff. And you lead them not through the wireframe demo, like log in here, put it here, and all this. No. You have this problem. Let me show you how we are solving it. You have another one problem. This is how we solve it.
Right.
And then I simply ask, is it interesting for you or not? We have our early adopters program. 20 seats, 10 seats, 5 seats, 3 seats. It depends on industry, depends on the
Yeah.
tool. Conditions are these. I think you might be a good fit, but do you see yourself using this solution? Just frankly, if you don't see yourself using it, let's not waste your time.
Right. And what I like there is that you contain that to that 3 to 5 max
Yeah.
problem set that you have, so that you're not running off wild, going, this is all the features, here's all the silver bullets, not waiting to get that head nod, going, yes, I commit to this one. Yes, I have this problem. I have this problem as well. Great. We've got this whole solution set here, and you could be part of the early adopters and solving this before others.
Yeah.
How long did it take? How many iterations did it take you to find that right sweet spot of, you go from the idea of farming, refining it, and then we flip this back to around to when you're doing that spot. This last piece here is part of the excitement that you bring, because it's a sales conversation at that point, right? And
Yeah.
having that engagement, that excitement, getting the clients emotionally going, yes, this is the problem I have. Take my money. Is like,
Yeah. Finally, something was my attention.
yeah, right. Like, and being aware of when to use those different pieces of the approach and how to approach those scenarios is really, really quite important.
Yeah. So if you would ask, like, for statistics, how much pivots we usually need to face, well,
Yeah,
it's a unique situation. Maybe you are a genius and you will find it from the second time, not from the first
yeah,
time, because more than 1,000 startups, they didn't hit from the first time. So maybe from the second time. But based on the research that I did, 3 or 4 times is like the most of the cases.
right,
Because if you tried, why it is so? Because if you tried 3 or 4 times to pivot, to do something differently, then your motivation goes down. Maybe you will find on the pivot number 7, number 9, that sweet spot, but usually 3 to 4 pivots.
right,
Those who are lucky, they make it on the second pivot. Yeah, there are success cases who will say, yeah, it's from the very first time. But I would doubt it strongly, because maybe this is the first thing that they've built, but they had their ideas different initially.
right,
They did discovery interviews, they approached their customers, got into their face, and et cetera, and they slightly changed their idea. But so is it a pivot or not? So it's a pivot of
right.
idea, but not the pivot of the product that you are building.
Yeah. And I think that's important. It goes right back to the start of our conversations. Like, that first idea is very powerful if you're going to go down the road of being, if you want to get into being a founder, an entrepreneur, any of those things. Like, you need to have that idea. But then there are tools out there that can help you refine that, like yours, Dantas, is like, it allows you to speed that up, accept that the pivots are going to happen, and do it in a very, I don't want to use the word formulaic way, but like, there's there's a
Methodological.
methodology to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
So instead of trying to figure out everything on your own, you can ask customers first in the first place. Then you can ask consultants, what do they think about that? But customer is king, because customer will pay you, not a
yeah,
consultant, not an investor.
and I think that's, if I agree. Like, and again, that stands for any business. It doesn't matter if you're SaaS or
Yeah.
solopreneur or a service provider. If you're going to have to talk to your customers at some point, so start doing that conversation as early as possible, so you can ensure that you're finding the right customers, finding the right problem for them, then connecting that to a big value.
Yeah. And if I could add something on top of that, one of the main struggles that we find during the double sprint bootcamp, those founders who start working with me and they try to go and talk to people and do these pivots, get customers before they build this stuff. One of the main problems is that nobody is willing to talk with them.
Mm,
They can't get into these discovery interviews. So what does it signal? The problem they're trying to solve probably is not as important as they initially thought.
yeah,
Because if you are solving really significant problem, gosh, I have this problem, so show me how are you solving it.
yeah,
I want to hear about that. Or either you are targeting the wrong audience. Maybe the problem is important, but not for those people.
right. And that's again, you've dropped so much value into to the listeners today. Is you may have the right problem, but you may have the wrong customer profile. Maybe you've got the wrong problem and the right customer profile, but you're going to have to start to be curious and open to that uncomfortableness of going, what part of this is wrong?
Yeah.
And how do I go discover that so I can find what is right? Can I have more right than I can have wrong? And that is, it's as a coach, like I know people that's not a pleasant thing to go through, but it's like a
Yeah.
highly it is like it, it's a requirement to go through and do
Yeah.
that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a leader. If you want to go do something great, you're going to have a lot of like wrong and failure along the way, but you need to find that space to be like, how am I going to turn this into this great story one day? How am I going
Mhm.
to help use this to fuel my success?
And one tip here is that if you already build the product, or at least like 80% of the product, and it soon will be launched 5 minutes before the launch and trying to sell it,
Yeah,
and you don't want to find out that you are failing, that you missed the target. So you will be trying to pitch, and you will be hugely upset. You don't want to lose your face, and
yeah,
you will say that, oh, let's finish the product, let's fine tune it, let's make it more perfect, let's wrap it up into a gift box to make it look better,
yeah,
and do everything to delay that difficult truth that
yeah,
it's not a good product. But when you do that in the right way, what we teach in the double sprint method, you go to the customers. It's like the third or fourth step out of 10 steps before even building anything. You say, hey, I'm on the idea of building that stuff. I haven't built anything, so I'm not looking for compliments. I'm looking for sincere opinion. So
right,
shoot me in the face, and you will do me a favor if you tell me that I'm wrong, that it doesn't make sense, because I won't throw my money and my time. It's just like, okay, let's have a glass of beer and a frank discussion if it makes sense at all.
yeah,
And this way, it doesn't feel like a failure. I'm not losing my face. I'm just like a guy who has some ideas, maybe crazy, maybe good. I'm just doing casual talk.
yeah, yeah. You're going out and finding out, be like, how crazy is this idea, and are there others?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and by the way, I did that same stuff during the conference. So I do what I teach actually. So
no, and
I went to marketing. Yeah,
yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna
Ginny,
say
say.
that it's important for be like, well, if you're coming up with the method, and you're like, oh, I don't use my own method, but like, I use it. Here's the success, and here's the success of all these other 16,000 entrepreneurs that have gone through it.
Yeah. So what I did, I was on the idea to create marketing partnership platform for marketers, CMOs, like chief marketing
Yeah,
officers, or like marketing consultants. I went to a marketing conference. It was not like a conference, but it was a 2-day teaching event for
right.
marketers, CMOs. Cool. I went there for knowledge, but it was just one of the goals. I wanted to talk with those people. So during the coffee break, I approached one person and said, "Oh, hello. So did you like that topic?" And by the way, do you see this topic coming into the marketing partnerships, because it could be a potential? Have you ever done that? And da 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 da. It feels like a casual talk, but I'm actually testing my idea during
Right.
the discovery interview, which doesn't sound like a discovery interview. It's a casual talk
Yeah.
with a cup of coffee. During the lunch break, I approached the table with three marketers whom I don't know. But, oh, guys, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is, and okay, you are this person. Okay, you are
Yeah.
doing this. Oh, amazing. I heard the idea the presenters shared, and I thought we could use that for building marketing partnerships, like doing some cross promo. Does it make sense or not? What do you feel? Have you ever done partnerships? Okay, after that, I get back to my room, into my notebook, and putting some notes, what I learned from these guys.
Yeah.
I was such a crazy person that when even we went to sauna and swimming pool, I approached one person, another one person, like it's, hey, do you know this idea? Have you ever did that stuff? I was doing interviews even in sauna because time was limited.
Yeah.
There were more than 100 marketers in the room, and guys, I need to get that feedback. And for me, it was not losing my face or being wrong. I just had an idea. We already started doing some wireframes. I just wanted to be sure that I'm doing the right stuff.
I love that. And it shows that there's an opportunity. If you put yourself in the right places and take the right pieces of courage, there's opportunity everywhere for you to go and learn more about how you're trying to serve.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
by the way, I'm introvert. And for me, doing interviews, like approach someone in sound, hey, have you ever done marketing partnerships? Is something out of the reach, it seems like.
Yeah.
But when I went to this training, to this event, I already had some questions for myself prepared, like, okay, how to start the talk that it's not awkward for me.
Right.
Because me, introvert, is hello, what's the weather? Where are you from? Kind of, cheesy things,
Yeah.
but few professional questions from marketer to marketer. Oh, okay, this guy's marketer. He knows some stuff about it. Okay, let's talk about that stuff. Okay, cool. And all these questions lead to those things that I wanted to discover, whether it makes sense or not to proceed
Right.
with the idea.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's how I said at the start of our time, I was going to look up and see that we've blown past the 40-minute mark.
Oh,
We've very much blown past that. I want to be respectful of your time. You've dropped so much knowledge here today, and I want to give you an opportunity to kind of like share with what it is that you're doing, how people can connect with you, and this is this. Let's the floor is yours.
oh, thanks. So if you're building any kind of like software, digital tool or platform or application, I believe that you could strongly benefit from the double sprint method. I give it away absolutely for free. You can go and grab the mini course at doublesprintmethod.com, and you will find the roadmap, the method there. If you wish to connect with me, you could go on Facebook on Founders Launching SaaS group. I will accept you. So in this group, I share additional training about pre-selling tactics, about where to find your potential customers, potential early adopters, how to create your irresistible offer. So if you are building software, platform, application, you will get value from there, definitely. And another one thing is that if you believe that you would love to work with me, or at least you would love to hear my opinion about your product, you can schedule the double sprint audit with me. From time to time, I do this service for free. Usually it costs 250 euros, but from time to time, well, I can be absolutely transparent here. I run Double Sprint Bootcamp. It's a 90-day coaching program. And when I see that we are going to have few vacant seats, I offer this audit for free just to look for possible candidates who would be a good match.
Right.
So join the group and you will get there the invitation. Hey, we have few spots in the program and you are not obligated to join the program. If you want to get my feedback personally on your situation, just schedule the audit. We will go through it, and maybe I will say, yeah, amazing, you can join to the audit. This is what we could do through the audit procedure. If you want, later we can discuss how I can help you. But everything what I mentioned is absolutely free of charge. All the content on doublesprintmethod.com or Founders Launching SaaS group on Facebook.
Right. It's providing a ton of value, and all those links will be down below in the show notes. So definitely go check that out. Check out the group, check out his YouTube, check out Double Sprint Method, and get to understand how you can accelerate your digital product. Again, Donis, thank you so much for your time today. This has been a valuable conversation. Before I let you go, I ask my guests one last question.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What is your personal definition of trusting yourself?
That's a good and deep question. It means that trust for me means that I don't give up even when I don't believe that the win is possible. That's the trust. So if I see that situation leads nowhere, it's not necessarily just about entrepreneurship, but you see that odds are not on your side. But if you still keep going and you try to overcome that roadblock, you hit that wall and so you smash it, you walk it around it, it means I can trust you. So if you face the first obstacle and you put your hands down and said, that's not, so I don't trust myself, I don't trust you.
Right. I love that answer, is trusting yourself to get through it and work through the odds.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for being on episode 115. To everybody else that's watched today, thank you for watching and listening. Wherever you are, make sure to follow and subscribe to the show. And until next Wednesday, I'm Gene, and this is Conversations With. We'll talk to you later.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks and bye.
Thank you. One last thing, it's the legal language. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.